All right, we're getting into the fun stuff here. This is day 3. We are going to assemble the sliders. We're going to glue the flower, glue the sun, and start working with the grass. And then we're going to finalize everything tomorrow. So we are going over to our demo table today, and we're going to start putting things together. All right, the biggest thing here is we have all our parts and pieces. And this is one I had put together before. I put a ton of different flowers together. I made it overly thick. This is my grass in the front. And of course the flowers are going to slide down in behind. I just made them a little bit thick. Then I can't do much with it right now, but they do slide down. I could make my grass a little higher so that when we're finished off with this, we're going to be able to pull this up and all our flowers will grow. So that is the goal right here. So we're going to start putting together especially the slider and the sun to make sure everything is going to happen in the right way. Now you can decide whether you want it to be a happy birthday or a happy Mother's Day. You will be able to color these in tomorrow, and we will take care of that. So what we need right now from all our parts and pieces, we need our sun with its backing. The slider's going to go in behind there. We need our grass components. And of course we need our slider. I cut 3 pieces out here, but you only need to make sure it's sturdy enough it's not going to bend. So we're going to glue those together. I've got an extra backing here, and we have the backing that's going to go in behind here once our slider is all assembled. And then we have our various flower pieces and parts. There are all kinds of different designs. You can put 1, 2, or 3. I've used a fairly thick paper, so I may only use the 1. And then of course I've got some flower centerpieces here. See 3 of them. Guess we'll have 1 without, so we have our 3 centerpieces. And there's another flower. Now I have the craft board pieces here. 2, 3, we only need 4. And I've got some extras here. I always cut extra just in case something goes wrong, so we'll put those there. And we need 2, 4 of our green color. So we won't need those pieces, but we're going to need everything else that we have on here. So we're going to start by getting our slider in place. Now I've got an extra here. I'm going to use this cardstock and I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together. I am using a glitter glue piece here. And this will dry clear. And I want this to be fairly sturdy, so I'm actually applying quite liberally the amount of glue I need, because this little lever is going to pull our flowers up and down. All right, but we have to match these, and since it's slippery glue, it'll give us a chance to go ahead. Now you can make this sturdier if you want. This is pretty sturdy by itself. I could add the 3rd layer, but for right now this is going to work for what we want. Because what's going to happen here is when we put this into place, it has to be able to fit through our slit and be down here to hold our flowers at the same time. And that looks pretty good. All right, so we've got that in place. Let me just move this up out of the way. Now we're going to have to assemble our little branches here. Just make sure they're all going in the right direction. I find the sturdier the piece, the longer the card is going to last. So we can get this to match a little better. Okay, 1. Do the glue down on this part this time. Getting that one to match very well. Let's Bring it down a bit. There we go. Move that into position. Doesn't matter if a little shows in behind, that's fine. It's just for the leverage. Let's turn this around. Off my finger. Part of it to match. There we go, and one more to go. I've got the next one here. Okay, so now we have our 4 stems all ready. We have our grass, we have our sun, and of course we have our card, and we are going to now start to put together some of the assembly part of it. Now, before we get going with this, we have to understand that this is going to go in behind, and it's going to poke up through the hole here. So we have, of course, wanting to line this up at the bottom. See it poked through here. Right at the bottom, as close to the bottom as you can get, and still have a piece poking out at the top. And the reason I want that little bit poking out of the top, because this is where we're going to put the little dot behind for the sun here, and then the sun on top. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put it all around because the sun is going to go on top of it anyway. I'm going to bend this. Whoops, pushed it down too far. I'll make sure it's pretty straight. Okay. Now, the sun part is going to go at the top. Got this a little crooked. Looks pretty straight. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this down because I want to put the sun part on this, and I only want it to glue to the pieces that are showing, and that will stop it from going down too far. So now we've got our lovely little sun that we're going to place here. Now, once that dries, we should be able to pull this up and down for our sun. I'm too anxious to pull it. So I should be able to pull it up and down quite easily with the sun, and of course we can. And of course we want to make sure that this is fairly straight. Now, the harder part here is going to be putting the stems and the flowers in place, and then we'll do the final assembly with the grass and everything else tomorrow. So the big key here is you want to have your stem fairly high here, but then if you take a look underneath, you want your stem to be on top of the extra piece. So I'm just going to glue this bottom piece. And I have to be extra careful here because I'm going to be bringing it through. Try to center it. I'm trying not to go below the extra piece. Our little flower and stems need to poke out, and of course it let go. So just below here. So just below. Just hold it. Okay, so we've got 3. We're going to put some more decor on the inside. Don't worry about if you've got extra. It's about right. Doesn't have to be perfectly centered, But we've got 3 of them. The whole key here is we want to make sure it's going to slide up and down. So I'm just going to lift this slightly. Make sure it's going to adhere to here. Now I don't have flower tops yet, but in theory, when I pull it, up they come and down they go. So we've got the first part all ready to go here. Now we're going to add some flower heads to this today, and tomorrow we will add the grass and the backing. So for our flowers, because they're going to come up, you've got to decide, you know, the size that you want for your flowers. And I'm going to use, you know, fairly small ones here because I don't want too much popping up and down. So I'm just going to add a little glue to the top of the stem. Now I can put my flowers underneath these leaves. Just want to glue it in place, but I don't want it to glue to the back of the card. So I just want to make sure we're gluing it in place properly, and we are. Now I've got some smaller ones, so let me go back here to glue this. See what other, I've got some funky color stuff here. Oh, there's a daisy one. I'll use that one for the last one here. All right, so we have the first part. We know that when we pull on the sun, that this should make the flowers grow. So that is the first part of our slider card. Now, that's a really important part. So there's one more piece that we want to do here. And of course, you can see your mechanism here. And of course, we need to have that mechanism so it hides a little bit, so we're not showing the inside of the card. And that is where this plain piece comes into effect. I am just going to apply a little bit of glue to the rounded edges only, and nowhere else, because all it is something we're going to use to protect the card. So let's see, it goes this way, the rounded edges only. So I am going to bring this down. I want to make sure it's just the edges. And that'll give us a little extra room at the top here, so I can glue that in. And I just want to make sure before anything else, you can see the backing's the same color. So now I should be able to bring this up. Oh, too much effort, maybe it just let go here, and down, up and down. Looks like we're okay. I have a little bit of an edge here that's creating a problem. All right, now we go back down. So tomorrow what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to add the grass part to it, some greetings, some other parts and pieces, and I just want to make sure we've got enough glue on these edges so I know our edge is going to be okay. Just don't want things to fall apart on us, but that is just to protect the back, and we don't want it near our slider. There we go. May have to just hold it down for a bit. All right, so tomorrow we're going to finish this all off with our other decor. And maybe we should add, before we go, let's add our little dots here. This is a fun card to make. Little blob of glue. Of course, before we go, I'm going to make sure my end is clear. I will just take this out of its elastic. Just give it a little puff squeeze and add the cap And that way I know it will flow for us tomorrow when we finish everything off. So let's get ready for tomorrow. Let's make sure you have everything all glued together, and I will see you tomorrow for the final assembly.